Greetings to everyone. I am Ms. Remedios Moog, one of the university counselors from the Office of Counseling and Career Services of the Salle University. I am grateful to present to everyone my research study on self-identified LGBT students PERMA well-being profile. Allow me to share my slides. Well-being is more than simply affect. It also includes one's cognitive judgment with satisfaction in the whole life dimension. Martin Seligman developed the PERMA flourishing model, which consists of 5 aspects associated with psychological well-being. Positive emotions, that's letter P, engagement, letter E, relationships, R, M, meaning, and accomplishment, A. The well-being model has been proposed as a framework based on positive psychology concepts with the aim of boosting health, enhancing life happiness, developing and promoting creativity, and eventually moral growth and civic citizenship. P stands for positive emotions. When you're talking about positive emotions, there is happiness and life satisfaction. Cultivating gratitude, there's forgiveness about the past, mindfulness about the present, optimism about the future. In other words, you need to build hope. The key indicator for flourishing is a positive emotion. This may be nurtured or learned. LGBT significantly more frequent negative emotions and bullying. There are also fewer instances of happy feelings at school and fewer instances of positive school experience. Positive emotions can counteract the detrimental consequences of the negative emotions and build resilience. For engagement, they fully deploys their skills, strengths, attention for challenging tasks. There's a fulfilling work, interesting habits, flow, momentum. Who are engaged and able to utilize their strengths will be happy in the long run. LGBT people have a wide range of interests and needs. Engagement also contributes to physical and mental well-being, as well as self-esteem. Because LGBT people are at higher risk of developing mental health disorders, Grossman proposed that they should have greater opportunity to engage in leisure and recreation. Relationships. There should be positive relationships with people. Connections with people can give one's life purpose and meaning. Doing acts of kindness for others produces an increased well-being. Honnett's theory of recognition stressed the significance of recognition for LGBT people and communities, emphasizing the social environment's capacity to foster strong, connected communities that support LGBT wellness. Samaru found that LGBTQ youth mental health improved when they were exposed to a friendly environment that lessened minority stress and enhanced social connections. Being acknowledged and valued for who one is vital to developing a good self-identity. It might be beneficial to their mental health to feel encouraged and protected in exploring and expressing their sexuality. It has the potential to alleviate discomfort, anxiety, and despair. Meaning, it is belonging, having a purpose, serving something bigger than the self. In other words, finding meaning on life. Having a meaningful life reduces the relationship between the heterosexist discrimination and distress. It also moderated the connection between the heterosexist discrimination and life happiness. Studies suggested that having a meaningful life buffered the association between distal stigma-related stressors and general psychological processes such as the coping strategies. The last dimension is accomplishment. Accomplishment is to pursue realistic goals, important achievement, competence, success, and mastery. So to achieve well-being, there should always be a sense of accomplishment that you always say to yourself, yeah, I did it. I did it well. Working for and achieving objectives, mastering an undertaking, and having self-motivation to do what you set out to achieve all contribute to a sense of accomplishment. This leads to happiness since people may look back on their lives with pride. So despite the growing literature on LGBTQ, few or there is a dearth of studies that have been conducted along this line within the context of Philippine education. Hence, this paper determined the level of well-being of self-identified lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer students of De La Salle University, anchored on the PERMA well-being of Seligman. Method: research design. Data was collected and analyzed using a quantitative approach, the descriptive design, to determine the baseline level of well-being of the self-identified LGBTQ students. Participants. There were 129 self-identified LGBTQ students. Based on the participants' assigned sex at birth, more women, 88, than men, 41, participated in the study. The participants' age distribution revealed that majority of them were between the ages of 18 and 21, 91, and 22 and 25, 32, with just a small number falling between 26 to 29 years old, 4, and 30 to 35 years old, 2. Majority of the participants indicated that their sexual orientation were bisexual, 66, and pansexual, 23, with some being gay, that's 16, and queer, 10, and lesbian, 8, and a very few being asexual, 4, and questioning, 2. The gender identity profile of the participants, on the other hand, indicated that the majority, that 74%, identified as cisgender, while 21% identified as genderqueer and 5% as transgender. The profile of the participants by college indicated that majority of them were coming from the College of Liberal Arts, or CLA, 53, Ramon B. Del Rosario College of Business, the RVRCOB, 25, Gokongwei College of Engineering, the GCOE, 21, Brother Andrew Gonzalez College of Education, 11, and College of Science, 11, with only a handful number of participants from the School of Economics, 4, and the College of Computer Science, 4. For measures, the PERMA Profiler, a self-report evaluation instrument, developed a quantify Seligman's 5 pillars of well-being: positive emotions, engagement, relationships, meaning, and accomplishment. Was utilized for the needs assessment. There were also 3 dimensions included, such as health, negative emotions, and loneliness. So the measures is a brief 23-item measure, 11-point Likert scale with 0.93 Cronbach alpha. PERMA profile interpretation. A score for each PERMA domain, as well as for the dimensions of negative emotions and health, were calculated by getting the mean score of the items. So 9 and above, that's the mean score. If you got the score of 9 and above, it falls on the very high functioning, 8 to 8.9 high functioning, 6.5 to 7.9 normal functioning, 5 to 6.4 suboptimal functioning, and below 5 languishing. The score for loneliness was obtained by getting the score for that item alone. So an overall well-being score was obtained by getting the mean of all the items pertaining to the 5 PERMA domains, as well as the item that measures happiness. Procedures. The researcher registered online at the author's website to obtain official authorization for the use of PERMA Profiler for research and evaluation purposes. Google Form for survey instruments was used. The survey questionnaire instrument was submitted for review and approval of the OCCS Director and the Research Ethics Office. After the survey questionnaire instrument tool was approved, it was disseminated through email, Canvas, Animo Space, and the social media. For data analysis, the Microsoft Excel was used to examine the data collected by the instrument. The mean of each item was determined, except for loneliness, and an Excel spreadsheet of the PERMA profile presented a snapshot of each participant's well-being was generated. So in this study, mean and percentage were utilized to display the data obtained for the descriptive questions. Results and discussion. The primary goal of this study was to examine preliminary findings concerning the levels of well-being of self-identified LGBTQ students enrolled in Term 3 of the academic year 2020-2021. Table 1 depicted the characteristics of the participants depending on their assigned sex at birth. For female respondents, the positive emotions appeared to have inadequate functioning with a mean score of 6.44, whereas other dimensions such as engagement, relationships, meaning, and accomplishment appeared to have normal functioning. As a result, the overall well-being of the female participants was within the range of normal functioning. However, it appeared that health, the negative emotions, and loneliness were generating inadequate performance. On the other hand, it indicated that all PERMA dimensions fall within normal functioning for the male participants, with an overall well-being mean of 7.19 being within the normal functioning. However, it appeared that the negative mood and loneliness were also associated with inferior performance among with the female participants. Based on Table 1 as well, the participants who identified as cisgender and genderqueer had satisfactory in all 5 PERMA dimensions, while the transgender participants tended to have insufficient positive emotions, meaning, and accomplishment, as a result, having a suboptimal overall state of well-being. The participants, regardless of the gender identity, appeared to be experiencing loneliness, as evidenced by their unsatisfactory functioning score. Genderqueer and the transgender participants seemed to have persistent negative emotions, implying that they were experiencing a high level of negativity, while the cisgender participants tended to perform inadequately when it comes to the negative emotions. Participants who identified as cisgender were operating normally in terms of their health, whereas participants who identified as genderqueer and transgender were not functioning as well in terms of their health. Except for queer sexual orientation, the general well-being of the participants appeared to be within the normal functioning range across all sexual orientations. However, it appeared that almost all sexual orientation categories had inadequate functioning in terms of the negative emotions, with the exemption of pansexual, which seemed to be languishing and questioning sexual orientation, which appeared to have a normal functioning. So in terms of loneliness, participants with gay and queer sexual orientation appeared to encounter loneliness, as evidenced by scores that fall within the languishing functioning range. While participants coming from who were identified bisexual, pansexual, or questioning their sexual orientation had inferior functioning. The figure 1 presented the graphical representation of the overall PERMA scores for each dimension, regardless of the assigned sex at birth, the sexual orientation, and gender identity. The overall mean score for positive emotion is 6.54, which indicates normal functioning. Engagement has the highest mean score of 7.55, suggesting that it is still operating normally. Relationships have a mean score of 6.97, which indicates regular functioning. The mean score in the dimension of meaning is similarly 6.85, suggesting normal functioning. Accomplishment score similarly with a mean of 6.97, indicating normal functioning. So the participants had an overall PERMA score of 6.95 for overall well-being, indicating that their well-being is generally normal. On the other hand, there are 3 dimensions fall within the suboptimal functioning. That is below the normal functioning. These were the health, negative emotions, and loneliness. Summary, conclusions, and recommendations. The survey questionnaire items were used to get an understanding of the baseline level of well-being of the LSU's self-identified LGBTQ students, which would be relevant in establishing a program aimed at cultivating their well-being. Based on the results of the PERMA Profiler gathered data, it can be concluded that generally, the self-identified LGBTQ student participants' level of well-being was at the normal functioning. They appeared to be functioning at a normal level in the dimensions of positive emotion, engagement, relationship, meaning, and accomplishment. However, the scores obtained in health, negative emotions, and loneliness seem to be in the suboptimal functioning levels. So the PERMA Profiler assesses a subjective sense of health, how well people feel each day. Emotions are an important part of people's well-being. Emotions can range from very negative to very positive, and range from high arousal to low arousal. For positive emotion, the PERMA Profiler measures tendencies toward feeling of contentment and joy. For negative emotion, the profiler measures tendencies toward feeling of sad, anxious, and angry. So based on the findings, the LGBTQ student participants seemed in the suboptimal functioning when it comes to negative emotions. Moreover, the participants appeared to feel lonely in their daily life, as indicated in their suboptimal functioning score in loneliness. While the results showed that participants' general well-being was in normal and that they score normal on all PERMA categories, the goal of the PERMA model is to flourish. Human flourishing comprises striving for self-actualization and fulfillment, which entails going beyond normal functioning and attaining the maximum level of well-being. Furthermore, the amount of negative feeling among self-identified LGBTQ student participants was unsatisfactory, indicating a need for improvement in this area. The results of the dimension of health revealed that it was lower than the typical operating level, indicating that more work is required to raise it. Based on the findings, most self-identified LGBTQ student participants are coping with issues and anxieties that are potentially harmful to their well-being, as seen by their low mood and loneliness scores. This only emphasizes the need of having a program that may help students become more conscious of their baseline level of well-being and inevitably lead to a more thriving society. LGBTQ persons face distinct stressors such as stigma, prejudice, and discrimination, all of which have an influence on their well-being. Minority stress theory, developed by Elon Mayer, discusses how societal pressures lead to mental health inequalities in LGBTQ groups. PERMA Wellbeing Program. This study demonstrated the importance of LGBTQ students having well-being programs to assist them have a successful life path and to prevent any mental health disparities. The PERMA well-being model has been proposed as a framework based on positive psychology concepts with the aim of boosting health, enhancing life happiness, developing and promoting creativity, and eventually moral growth and civic citizenship. Thus, the researcher will utilize a psychoeducational approach to provide series of webinars and consultations to DLSU self-identified LGBTQ students. Following the PERMA well-being model framework, the program aims to cultivate and promote happiness and well-being among LGBTQ students. As a result, the researcher predicted a flourishing LGBTQ student community with a more inclusive and resilient social support system. These are my references for my study. Thank you very much for listening. If you have questions, clarifications, or would you like to get in touch with me, please send an email to remedios.moog@dlsu.edu.ph. Thank you once again. Stay safe and well, everyone. Bye.